Hello and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Theories, the show that covers the theories you may or may not have been asking ever since you started playing Pokemon. This show covers theories such as Red becoming a champion to the Kanto Wars. So if you have a theory burning in your mind, stay tuned and I might just address it. Please note that in all my videos, if I use images from Google, that I do not own any of those images, and all images obtained from Google are owned by their respective owners and copyrights. So please remember this when watching my Pokemon theories. Thanks. Hello and welcome back to Pokemon Theories. Today's video was asked by many people, and it is still being asked, so let's address it. Today's theory is what happens to Pokemon in Pokeballs if the Pokeball breaks while they're inside, if their trainer dies, or if the ball breaks, things of that nature. So, more or less, I'll see what I can do with the title, try to make it condensed and concise, but that's what we're covering today. Pokeballs themselves, we all know what they are, but if you don't, I did discuss what's inside a Pokeball and summarized Pokeballs, but basically they are capsules used to digitize the Pokemon into a smaller form, allowing them to become extremely portable, or known as pocket monsters, so you can put them in your pocket. Now, without getting into a theory about that, I will discuss how that works later on. But for now, let's stay on track. There are several examples of Pokeballs breaking within the show, the game, and the series. If anyone's ever played Pokemon, and for the first time they never knew how to actually catch a Pokemon, you may have tossed a Pokeball at a Pokemon with its full life hoping to catch it, and probably failed. Maybe you didn't, but hey, what are the odds? So you tried to catch him, and he breaks out of the ball, and it obviously disappears. Where'd the Pokeball go? Well, it's broken. You can't use it anymore. But this doesn't actually happen on the show. In fact, Ash attempted to catch a Primeape and ended up catching a rice ball instead. So, technically, the Pokeball didn't break. It was still usable, but, you know. But the examples I'm going to be citing here come not only from the game, but from a movie and the new anime show Pokemon Origins. And if you haven't seen either one of them, there's going to be spoilers, so just be ready for that. So my first citation and example will cover the theory on the fact of what happens when a trainer dies. In Pokemon the first movie, with Mewtwo, Ash attempts to punch Mewtwo, and it doesn't really go over well. Obviously. But later on, he decides to run in when Mew and Mewtwo are having a massive confrontation, and he turns to stone. How that happens, I don't know, because there's not a single move that turns the enemy into stone, or petrifies an enemy. Oddly enough, it just doesn't exist. So when he's stone, do you think he's dead? Well, he's obviously not alive. Do you think he's inside the stone statue, or do you think he himself has become stone? And if anyone's turned to stone, they're obviously not alive. So, it's a good question of if he was actually dead or not, but let's assume for the fact of this theory that he is dead. So Ash is turned to stone, and what happens? Pikachu starts to cry, the tears bring him back. Obvious. But, my point is, what happened to his Pokemon? They didn't run off, they didn't freak out, they didn't flip out and say, well, hey, we got no more master anymore. But they still stayed loyal to him. Perhaps this was just because of the way the movie was wrote, but I'm going to cite another example. The fact that when Koffing and Ekans are talking to Meowth on the giant Pokemon Island, when they are separated from Jesse and James, they refer to Jesse and James as their master. Now, they may or may not have assumed that Jesse and James were dead, but they were obviously outside of their Pokeballs, which means Meowth was not their trainer. But, you know, they didn't listen to Meowth, but you could hear what Meowth was telling them and saying to them, and they said they only listened to Jesse and James, their master. Which means they were on a continuous hunt to find Jesse and James. This also occurred with the separation of Pikachu, Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur. So, obviously, again, it shows that when Pokemon are separated from their trainers, they just attempt to find their trainers again. So their trainers may be dead, but if they somehow manage to escape their Pokeball prison, they will seek out their trainers. They will not just roam free. Obviously, if Pokemon get separated from their trainers and they can't escape their Pokeballs, they stay in their trainers. Regardless of if their trainer dies or not, there's no one to let them out. But it doesn't require their specific trainer to let them out. You can press the center of the Pokeball and the Pokemon will escape. This is also shown in one of the earlier episodes when Ash is rushing Pikachu to the Pokemon Center and it's attacked by Jesse and James. Ash calls out several Pokemon that are obviously not his own, but they are still trapped in Pokeballs, which means you don't need to be their respective trainer to release them. Again, it's getting off on a side tangent, but it is important to notice this because if you don't, then you won't be able to realize that if they are separated from their trainer, any trainer could potentially release them. So obviously, if another trainer comes across a rotting corpse and a bunch of Pokeballs, he may just take the Pokeballs and release them. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Pokemon will listen to them, though. So other than that morbid image, there is a scene in Pokemon Origins. Red attempts to capture Mewtwo. Red throws an Ultra Ball, and Mewtwo is not weakened enough to stay in the ball. So he destroys the Pokeball and is released. This is what happens when a Pokeball is broken from a Pokemon not being captured. The Pokeball is destroyed. So what happens if a Pokeball is broken with the Pokemon in it? Well, this scene can dictate just that. Mewtwo was obviously in the Pokeball. When the Pokeball breaks, Mewtwo escaped. Now, simply put, because Mewtwo wasn't under the control of Red yet, and he wasn't defeated by Red and captured by Red, he didn't listen to Red. But had he been under his control, he would still listen to Red. He just needed a new Pokeball. And a new Pokeball would have been fashioned for him. So guys, I hope this alleviates your questions about this theory, and if it doesn't, well, there's the comment section. Please feel free to leave a comment, and also don't forget to like the video. Always remember to click that like button if you happen to be signed in, because it helps to share my theories. So guys, if you have a theory of your own you're dying for me to discuss, if you leave it in the comment section below, I will give you a shout out in the next video. Thanks for watching, and of course, happy gaming. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys, and now time for a service announcement from the Maverick Army. Tired of the norm? Is it time for a revolution? Join the rebellion and become a Maverick today by subscribing to Protomario. Remember, together we can create a new world order of gaming. Mavericks unite.